Conflict. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. The time is 7:03. The day is Tuesday, July to the 23rd, 2024. And this is the start. This is the beginning of a beautiful, beautiful day. And I thank God for the mercies and the graces of today, for his mercy and his grace, and for not passing me by today. Today, you know, looking out the window this morning, um, and just see how the day began, is beginning. Um, you see the darkness when the light come, the darkness has to disappear. The darkness cannot stay when the sun is rising. And it's a beautiful thing to behold. It's going to be another hot day here in the state of Florida. It's that time of year where it is. Um, every day is hot. This morning when I looked to see what the weather was going to be looking like today, again, hot. It's already 77, 78 degrees already. And it's only not even 7:30 yet. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. And this morning I just laid in bed. Yesterday was the my cousin passed July 10th, 2022. And yesterday was the day that we buried her, July 22nd, 2022. And her birthday would will her birthday is July 20 is the 29th of July. And it just felt so strange. It always feels so strange, when July comes, because I was there. I was back on my way to her. I went home to get clothes to spend whatever time left she had with her. And I was with her all Friday, and all Saturday I was with her. And I heard the doctor say, and I don't know, I wasn't even thinking about what the doctor said. I heard the doctor say she wouldn't last past the weekend. And I saw her blood pressure get lower and lower. I saw that. I saw life leaving her. However, when life was leaving her, she was up. She was walking around. And, just to see that Friday in the hospital, that Friday night, she was just she had to go to the bathroom so many times. And she would walk herself to the bathroom. And she would sit in the bathroom, and I don't know what was going through her mind. We never talked about how she was feeling or anything like that. We sat in silence a lot. We watched TV, we watched commercials, and and I had got so hungry, but I didn't want to leave her. And she said, Rita, if you're hungry, and I had her car. She said, Rita, if you're hungry, I have $300 in my car. Go out there and get some money. Go get you something to eat and then come back. And I didn't want to leave her. My daughter had sent money. Everybody was sending money, in case I needed anything, if I wanted anything. But I did not want anything. I did not want to leave her side. That Friday morning, I went to McDonald's and I had a burrito and coffee. That was all I had all day. And when I went to Fort Lauderdale to I called and do you need me? Do you need me, cousin? And she said, yes. I said, do you want me there? Because we had been at odds with each other. And I said, do you want me there? And she said, yes. And I said, okay, I'm on my way. And I left. My little cousin and we left to be with her. And my cousin had to be to work the next day, so she had to come back from Fort Lauderdale. But I stayed. I said, I'm going to stay, no clothes, nothing but my phone. I didn't have anything, and I had on gym clothes. And I remember that day, and I remember, crying out in the hallway because I heard the doctor say, just walked out the door because I was freezing. And I heard the nurse ask the doctor, her blood pressure. And I don't know why I focused in on their conversation. And because he could have been talking about anybody in the hospital that night. He could have been talking about anybody on that floor that night. But I wasn't listening. I just standing there and I focused in on what they were saying. And the nurse asks, her blood pressure is continually dropping. Do you want me to call your service tonight? If anything else happened, he said no. There's no need because if she make it through the night, it'll be a miracle. And if she make it past, she won't make. She's not going to make it past the weekend. And I just cried. I just bust out crying. And the nurse came round the desk and she said, oh, I'm so sorry you heard that. He did not mean for you to hear that. And I could not breathe. And I just cried. And I went into another room because I did not want her to hear me cry. And when I got myself together, I went back in her room and I just held her hand and laid my head on her hand. And my cousin and I mean, that was I don't know if you have a favorite cousin or you have a good cousin or whatever, but she was me and her were, she was my ride or die and I was her ride or die. When she fought, I fought. And when I fought, she fought. And we fought each other. So we had a very complex relationship. We had a very complex relationship when we became adults because I was on drugs and later she got on drugs. She got clean, I got clean, and it was she was that cousin we would always have to wait on. Every time she went somewhere, we would have to wait on her. And I hated that. And she would say, well, well, be ready at 10 o'clock. I'm going to pick you up at 10 o'clock. And sometimes it wouldn't be till about 11:30, quarter to 12. And I said, girl, no, Don't call me when you read in the driveway because I don't like it. Was many times I would take my makeup off, take my clothes off, put my pajamas on, and she was like, I'm outside, blowing up. Rita, I'm outside, come outside. I said, girl, I'm in the bed. I ain't going nowhere. So, why? Girl, you said you was coming at 9. You said you was coming at 10. It's 11:30. I'm not going nowhere. And it used to make me so mad because she was always so late. But I thank God that he granted me those hours alone with her and the time that I had alone with her, and I'm just watching her. And I have never been around anyone that was, in transition. I didn't know what that entails. I thought, she would just be, even in hospice, thought she would just be laying in bed and stuff. But she was up, she was walking around. That Friday, like she was moving slow, but she was, walking around. And then when she went back into when she went that Friday, she had left the hospital early up in the week for whatever reason. And that Friday, I had to talk her back into going to the hospital. And talking her back into the hospital, the paramedics had to have her to sign a waiver because the hospital that she wanted to go to was like 25 minutes away when there was a hospital right around the corner that was like 5 minutes away. And he said, ma'am, honestly, if she was my relative, I would take her to the nearest hospital because I don't even know if she's going to make it to this hospital that she wanted to go to Broward General. And I said, well, that's the hospital she want to go. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take her where she want to go. And she had to sign a waiver to go to the hospital. And, I'm just remembering all of this. And it just comes back to me so clear. And yesterday, I wasn't sad. However, I was sad because she wasn't here. And I thought so much. I thought about Kiki and Tisha. I thought about that relationship with those cousins and don't know if her and Kiki had a moment or a time, not Kiki and Wanda, not Kiki and anybody else, that Kiki and Tisha did it. They have a chance to just reconcile, to even just um to, did they ever talk? Did they ever try to get it together? Did the relationship know the relationship would never be the same again for whatever reason, for whatever happened, knowing that the relationship would never be the same again. It was going to either get better or it was going to stay the way that it was. And I thought about that yesterday with my cousin because I too, I didn't say our relationship was dead and that, I didn't say that to her, but I ignored her when she tried to call me. Whenever she tried to reach out to me, I would ignore her. I would ignore the calls. I would ignore the texts. I would leave them on unread. I wouldn't return the calls. I wouldn't even accept the calls or anything like that. And in my spirit, when my daughter came in the room and she was crying and she said, Ma, and she's our cousin, but we call each other auntie, and our children call each other auntie because we were just that close. And my daughter was crying and she said, Ma, auntie dying. And I got so angry with her when she said, I said, she ain't dying. She just saying that. She just always saying stuff for attention. That's girl, she ain't dying. And but that was on a Thursday night. That was I can remember the night. It was on a Thursday night. And I just did not want to believe that. I was still angry with her. I was holding on to that anger. And I was more so angry at myself because as a Christian, and it tells us to be at peace as a follower of Christ, it tells us to be at peace with each other, be as peaceful with each other as we can. And we don't hold on to grudges. And, God forgave me. So why couldn't I forgive her? Why was I still so angry with her? And and I was just, it was all about me. But there was something in my spirit that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I just couldn't. And she was getting worse. She was getting worse and worse every day. And that Friday, and everybody said, Maritha, she was holding on just for you. And I had to get it right at that time. I just had to get it right. I didn't know how I was going to get to Fort Lauderdale. I didn't know how I was going to get to her. All I know is I was going to get there. I wasn't going to trust my car to get me to Fort Lauderdale. And my aunt said, well, if y'all going to go, me and my cousin, she said, well, if y'all going to go, you might as well get in the car and go ahead now. Um, she gave my cousin her credit card to get gas and whatever else we needed. And I couldn't eat anything after that. I couldn't drink anything. I think I had got potato chips and a drink. And the potato chips tasted like cardboard in my mouth, and whatever I had to drink was just washing the cardboard down. I can remember that, and I thought about it. Yeah, I thought about it all day yesterday, and I thought about when I left her Saturday. And as I was walking out the hospital, the hospice room that Saturday, her mom was there and her older sister were there. And she said, Rita, you coming back? And I said, Debbie, I'm going home and I'm gonna get some clothes and I'll be back. I'm gonna be with you until I can't be with you anymore. And she said, okay. I said, you gonna wait for me, right? She said, yeah, I'm gonna wait. So I said, okay. And I went home that Saturday night and I slept so good. And my cousin said on the way, when they put me out, she said, Marita, she said, please get you some sleep tonight. And she said, when you get ready to leave to go back, we're gonna be ready when you are ready. So I said, okay. And I wanted to be back. I took a nice long soak, um, had some wine, did some crying, and I know all was well. She had forgave me. I forgave her. We didn't even have to talk about it. It was just a knowing. Didn't have to talk about it. And that night, when I let the water out the tub, all that went down the drain. And I got in bed and I slept. Such a, I slept a peaceful sleep. Got up, got ready, got halfway to Fort Lauderdale and got a call that she passed away at 11 o'clock Sunday morning, July 10th. And I felt so bad because I wasn't there and I told her that I was going to be there. So at some point, I hope Tisha and Kiki Elise were talking to each other because you do have regrets and you do look back on things and just question yourself about, was it worth it? What me and my cousin got angry about, we shouldn't have even got angry about it because our daughters are adults. And I said, I'm gonna let these grown people handle their own. They say they grown, I'm gonna let them handle their own stuff. And she went in on me, man. She went in on me about her daughter. And when her daughter called my daughter, what she called my daughter, a bomb. That was that for me. And I went in and I said some words that I meant. I meant every word I said. That's why I say words could be so detrimental. Words have power. There's power in words. Words can make you, words can break you, and words can make you do some things to yourself. And I thought about that all day yesterday. So let's just, my thing is, I am ever so mindful of the things. I wouldn't say something to just hurt a person now. You know, you don't, I really don't know what hurt people now because people are so sensitive, and I'm not a sensitive person, but I will call things out and I will say, and I do have my opinion on things. I'm just not that sensitive. But when you speak words over someone, there is power in words. And if I was a weak person, I would have melted by some of the things that people have said about me. But I thank God for grace, and I thank God for mercy, and I thank God for him never sleeping and him never slumbering. And I thank God that he is the kind of God that um, I have a God that watches over me. He looks out for me. He never sleeps. He never slumbers. Um, he sees all. He knows all. He knows your thoughts before you even think him. God knows the beginning, the middle, and the end. He knows the beginning before the beginning began. So God knows everything. He said, I formed you in your mom in your mother's womb. So if he formed me in my mama womb, so that means he knows everything about me. He know my likes, my dislikes. He knows what's when I'm being indifferent about anything and everything. And I try to be as honest as I possibly can. I try to be as fair as I possibly can. And when I was reading The Refuge of the Righteous in Psalms 5, it says, listen to my words, Lord. Consider my sign. Pay attention to the sound of my cry, my King and my God. For I pray to you in the morning, you Lord. In the morning, Lord, you hear my voice. In the mountains, I plead. In the morning, I plead my case to you and watch expectantly. When I pray to God, whatever I ask God for, I am expecting it. I am expecting an answer. I'm expecting a blessing. And sometimes I be looking for a miracle because it's going to take a miracle sometimes for the things that I ask God for. So I take refuge in God, and I believe I'm beginning to believe, and I'm learning how to have trust, and I'm learning how to have faith in God, because you cannot go to God in prayer and ask Him for anything that if you're not believing and expecting that prayer to be answered and believing that God can do anything but fail. And God is not a man that can lie. And He gave me these promises. These are the promises of Him. These promises come from Him. So I got to believe, because He can't lie and He can't take back the promises that He has already promised me. So, there's a behavior there's a way that I have to behave. I have to be obedient. I have to be courteous. I have to be kind. I have to be forgiving. I have to have all the attributes that his son Jesus had, because Jesus came down 42 generations. There was nothing that he went through that we have not gone through. The betrayal, the love, all of that kind of everything that we can imagine that we've been through. Jesus went through that as well. And he went through all of that just to show us he's going to always have a way out. There is always a way out of anything and everything that we are going through. That's why I am learning to turn to the Bible, turn to the Word, turn to God, living Word, breathing Word, before I turn to people and ask them their opinion on something. I will go to scripture and read what scripture says. Sometimes I don't understand it. And I'm learning, not trying to just keep focusing. Why I don't understand it? Why I don't understand it? Why I don't understand it? I don't get it. I don't get it. And pastor say, keep on reading it. Keep on pondering on it. Keep on meditating on it. And while you're pondering it, while you're meditating on it, clear your head, clear your thoughts, and be still. And God will give it to you. God gives it to me at the most, I say sometimes at the most inopportune time, because I could be in there washing dishes, or I could be in the shower, and I could say, oh man, that's what that means. Sometimes pastor say, you'll get it on the way out. You get it on the way out. And by the time I get out the church, I say, oh my God, that's what that was. That's what that was. And so when we pray, we have to pray believing that God is going to answer us. And it says in verse 4, for you are not a God who delights in wickedness. Evil cannot dwell with you. The boastful cannot stand in your sight. You hate all evildoers. You destroy those who tell lies. The Lord abhors violence and treacherous people, but I enter your house by the abundance of your faithful love. I bow down towards your holy temple in reverential awe of you. Lord, lead me in your righteousness because of my adversaries. Make your way straight before me, for there is nothing reliable in what they say. Destruction is within them, their throat is an open grave. They flatter with their tongues, Punish them, God. Let them fall by their own schemes. Drive them out because of their many crimes, for they rebel against you. Let all who take refuge in you rejoice. Let them shout for joy forever. May you shelter them, and may those who love your name boast about you. For you, Lord, have blessed the righteous one. You surround him with favor like a shield. When I'm beginning to see this when people come against me, and I've seen this with other people. When people become against me, when people become, I've seen where people have come personally, where I can see it, not the YouTube thing and stuff like that. But I have seen where when people on my job, when I was working at Publix, and I always felt like an outsider because I came in, and these everybody who was working there already had a relationship with each other, and they knew each other, and I basically was the outsider. I was not invited to go to happy hour. I wasn't invited when you get off work, let's go and do this and let's go and do that. I wasn't invited to that. I wasn't invited when they had their little house parties, and when I came in, they would be in they form their little group and pretty much keep me out. The young lady who I started with, she didn't pass the drug test, so she had to leave. And so I was basically there by myself, really surrounded by these other people, and they would have conversation that would just fly all over my head, and that bothered me because they didn't even try to make me feel welcome. And but they were barking out orders, do this, do that, do that. And so being the person I am, hold up, wait a minute, back it up, put it in pause, put it in reverse, back this thing up. Let me help me to understand. I need to know who the manager is. I need to know who the assistant manager is. And if the assistant manager have any, who is the assistant to the assistant? Because everybody in here telling me what to do. Everybody is telling me what to do, and I'm not doing what everybody tell me what to do. And that was the beginning. That people had already formed their opinion. I didn't like her, and I ain't gonna like her. And I had the opinion of I don't give a damn because I don't like y'all either. I'm just here to to cash to make me some money for a check. That's all I'm here for. And I always know how to ignore people. I always know how to put people in their place. And I don't allow anyone to make me feel I have a choice. Am I going to accept the way you're trying to make me feel? Am I going to feel that way? Or am I going to just do my own thing? Because on Fridays, I'm going to get paid. I'm going to get a check from Publix. I'm going to get a check from Publix. Ain't nobody else signing this check but whoever signed the check. And that's the attitude I had. But as time went by, I was bullied in that daily, but because I needed that job and because I wanted that job, I always wanted to work at Publix. I I took the bullying. I took it. But I was giving just as well as I was getting. And then one day I was telling my pastor because it was getting really overwhelming. I was about to go off on some people. And I had said I had went to Bible study that night, and I was talking to the pastor about it. I said, I'm really about to tell these people what they can do. And what he said, no, you're not going to do that. And he gave me instructions on what to do. He gave me instructions on what to do. And I did exactly what he told me to do. And that next morning when I went to work and I behaved the way that he told me to behave, and I did it for like a week, and I started seeing the people changing. I started seeing the people changing. And sometimes when you are going through things, all you have to do is be quiet. If you are a prayer, if you are a prayer warrior, if you are a person that sit down and you have a conversation with God, I converse with God all through the day. I have a conversation with God all through the day. Sometimes a full blown conversation, and sometimes it just be like little chat. little chats I be having with God. And sometimes I just say, well, thank you, Lord. Just thank you. Just thank God. Just start thanking God, and then just start praying. Not just out there, just blood, sweating to us, praying to I sweat. Just having a little conversation in my mind. My mouth don't even be moving, but just be praying in my mind to God. And and I started seeing how things were beginning to move. But when you do things that are contrary to God, that goes against God, there is repercussions and consequences behind that. I prayed, and Pastor said, you can pray for him, Aretha, right? And I say, for real? He said, yeah, but you can't be praying about, nothing bad. You cannot pray for nothing bad. He said, but you can pray a prayer of conviction. You can pray a prayer of conviction. And sometimes God will leave you foolish to some things, because there were things happening in that deli that I saw and that I did not see. And it had got so bad. It wasn't with me. I saw where it started lighting, getting light and light and lighter in there for me. But it was the assistant manager, and her name was Kelly. And this one girl, what was her name? And she really had a ghetto name. What was it? What is the ghettoest name? LaQuisha, Shaquisha. And she would get, and everybody in the store was literally afraid of this girl, because the store manager, the store manager and the girl mom were friends. And I said, "Oh Lord." And I would hear people in the break rooms, they would be talking, and I knew who they were talking about. And they would say, "Well, they don't need to go into her because she ain't gonna do nothing about it. She just let her do what she want to do." And it was just like people were scared to stand up to this girl. And I'm saying, "Really?" I said, "Well, y'all." I said, "Oh man." And one of the men in the meat department said, "I'm surprised you ain't went up against her yet." I said, "Oh, I have." I said, "Sometime daily." I said, "But I ain't scared of nobody." No, I said, "I'm not afraid of nobody that's in this store." I said, "I'm not even afraid of the store manager, because when I came here, I was looking for a job. And when I leave, I'll be looking for a job. So what can she do to me? But uh, fire me. That's all she can do." And they looked at me like I was strange. They looked at me like I was strange, strange, strange. And then happened, Publix, they move you around. They move their managers and their assistant managers around a lot. And this lady had been at this store for a while. So the store manager, they moved her to another store. So now you get a new manager. And she was sort of like, took over Mar from where she left. And then things began to happen. It got a little lighter in there. Eventually, she would be on the intercom calling Kelly, Kelly, Kelly to the deli, Kelly. And it's so loud. And I'd be so embarrassed. I'd be so embarrassed. And Kelly, Kelly, need you in the deli. Kelly to the deli. Kelly from the deli. Need you in the deli, Kelly. And she would just and that thing would just drive me crazy. And Kelly was actually afraid of her. And I said, damn, this is crazy. This is crazy. And I made friends with this girl, Jamila. Me and Jamila became friends. We would go after work. After work, sometime we would go and have a drink, or we'll go to Safari. We'll go to Ulta. We just go shopping or something like that. And even on my days off, she'll work half a day and say, Miss Marita, meet me at Macy's. I'm just gonna work half a day and meet me at Macy's at 2 o'clock. and we're gonna just go out. And we go to the movies, we go out to dinner, and and we did that sort of thing together. And yes, our God is a God that don't sleep. He don't slumber. He watches over us. He looks out for us. And when there's evil, evil is ever so present. Evil is all around us, all the time, even in our homes, on our jobs. And sometimes evil sleeps with us. Evil sit down and say, "Girl, let's go to dinner. Let's have a spa day together." There's evil all around us. However, there's God is with us as well. And there's many times God has kept me from danger seen and unseen. So we have to stay prayed up. We have to stay in the word of God, and we have to stay in the will of God. Are we going to sin? Are we going to mess up? We sin daily. We sin with our thoughts, with our actions, and with our deeds. We do that daily. But if we ask God for forgiveness daily, all day, every day, if you have to, and eventually you'll get it. Eventually we'll get it, you'll get it, and I'm getting it. I'm truly getting it, because you know what, you cannot stop a person from being who they are, and you cannot stop a person from saying what they want to say about you. You can't stop a person from talking about you. So I wish a lot of people would kind of put that out their mind, and you don't have to answer every call. Every time a person call for you, you don't have to answer. It ain't about nothing about being no scared. It's more so about protecting your peace. And when you're protecting your peace, you're basically protecting that other person, because that other person sometimes don't know how close they are to getting the business. They don't know how close they are to getting the business. And then one person can feel so empowered by a group of people. One person can feel so empowered by a group of people. But if you get that person on one, if you cut the head off, the body gonna fall. The body is going to fall when you cut that head off. And when you get that person one on one, if you go up to a bully one on one, scared, shaking in your boots or whatever, not scared, and just say, "I'm fed up with this." And either you're going to do what you say you're going to do, or you're going to shut the hell up and keep it moving. And when you confront a bully will bite down. A bully will bite down. They don't like to be talked back to. They don't like for you to stand up for yourself. They don't like for you to think for yourself. They don't like A bully is actually a person that, for me, is a person that wants all the attention. They want you to be a bobbing head, dog. Just be bobbing your head. Yeah, 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 yeah. They don't want you to think for yourself. They always want you with a person that's a bully. You always got to prop them up. They always need somebody to prop them up. They always need somebody to say, "Oh, you look so pretty this morning. Oh, you so this, and oh, you so that." And if anybody go against what you're saying, then you gonna catch hell. You're gonna catch holy hell. The only way you don't catch holy hell is to make a decision. I don't give a care about what y'all saying. I said what I said, and I meant what I said, and that's that. That's the end of that. And that's the way that is. That's the way it is. And then going up against life sometimes, when life is lifing, and you're praying and you asking God, "Lord, why you don't hear my prayer? Lord, why you ain't answer my prayer?" Effective or like of effective prayers are because of some of the things that we are doing and our motives behind praying. And so in one of and I read different inspirational motivations for in the morning, and one was, "He never sleeps." And you would go to Psalms 121 and 3. That's what I just read. 1 through verse 3. That's where never sleeps come from. That's where God never sleeps nor slumbers and stuff. Taking refuge in God. Go to Psalms 121. You can read that in the entirety. And that'll give you a lot of hope. Because even when you're sleeping, God is still watching. God don't get tired. God don't take no naps. He don't doze off. He don't do none of that. God is, continually watching over me, you, us, we, all of us. God is watching over us at all times. And that's the beauty of who God is. That's the beauty of who God is. So I feel safe. I feel protected in knowing that I got somebody watching over me 24/7. Somebody who don't sleep, don't slumber, don't take no naps, don't doze off, don't have to take nothing, don't have to take no Red Bull to stay woke, don't have to do none of that. None of that. He is not like man. And I thank God for being God. And then when you're going through, just like I was saying, when you're going through things and you're talking to God and you're praying to God, what are your motives behind? And why are our prayers not being effective? Why are our prayers feel like sometimes they're not being answered? So I was reading in my second reading out of my Dr. Charles Stanley motivational magazine, and it was said avoiding these are the obstacles to avoid to have effective prayer. So it says some of David's prayers are recorded in the book of Psalms. He praised the Lord, confessed sins, and cried out about his troubles. To pursue a rich prayer life like David's, we must avoid certain hindrance, such as wavering faith. Wavering faith. You cannot doubt God and pray to God at the same time. You cannot talk to God, tell God what you need, and even tell God what you want without believing. When your knees hit that floor, you already know what you're going to pray and say to God. But before your knees hit that floor, you got to believe that you're going to receive what it is that you're asking God for, what you're asking God to do. You got to believe that you're going to get it. You got to believe that you're going to receive it. You got to believe in what God says. You got to believe in the promises of God. And in James 1, verses 5 through 8, if anybody, whoever is listening, read that. And it talks about doubts about God's character or dependability to diminish our trust in him. When you doubt God, you can't doubt God, you can't trust God and then pray to God. How can that's not going to work. So therefore we must not allow our feelings to distract what we believe. And I am learning that, and I have learned that regardless, God is not moved by feelings. You know, not God is not like man. God, feelings move people. Sometimes they could be real and sometimes they could be exaggerated. And sometimes people are, most of the time people are full of drama. And they like to play on people emotions and play on people intelligence. Like these clear women, they are start like victim. I'm gonna say, have a lot of people have a victim mentality. They like to throw rocks, and then when you punch them, they want to cry. But they started it. I'm not gonna say all. I'm not gonna say all. Never all, but most and some victims are victims of by choice. And then they want to go and play on the court system. They want to play on the family members. They want to play on the friends. They always got this victim mentality going, and they play on people emotions and stuff like that. So when you go into God, you can't have no wavering faith. If you're going to pray, don't worry. If you're going to worry, then don't pray. Because when you're worrying, you're doubting God, you're not trusting God at his word. So therefore, when you go to God, you got to be as bold You got to be bold when you go to God. It ain't like having no attitude or anything like that. It's just going up to God and saying, Lord, now you said, and you have to give God his words back. Sometimes when we're praying to God, it ain't reminding God, because God don't need no reminder of what he said or the promises that he made. He don't need no reminder of that. However, sometimes God like to hear, okay, well, Lord, you promised me. I feel like I'm by myself. And you promised me in your word that you would never leave me nor forsake me, Lord. You said that. You said you would supply all everything I need according to your rich, according to you said these things to me, Lord. You promised me this. These are the things that you promised me. And then, I can visualize sometimes when I'm talking to God and I'm giving God back his word, and he just sitting there saying, yeah, I did say that. I did. And then I can hear Jesus as being my advocate saying, well, Lord, Dad, you did say that now. You said it. So, and she here, and um, she needs this. And as her advocate, I can vouch for her. I can vouch for her. And when you go to God with the earnest prayer, with unwavering faith, without any doubt, with sincerity and a boldness. And then another thing that stops effective prayer is wrong motives. In James 4:3, it tells us we cannot expect an affirmative answer when petitions are motivated by selfish desires. God wants us to pray for his will to be done, not ours. You know, because I used to say, strike them down, God. I don't care how you do it. Let the car don't start out. That's how I used to want God to get people. That's how I wanted for God. I wanted my will to be done and not God's will to be done. So now I have learned, and I am learning to when I pray, and a prayer of conviction over someone, I say, Lord, let your will be done. I can't tell you how to do it or when to do it, but Lord, I am asking that your will be done when you get ready for your will to be done. And eventually, and I'm not praying that nothing happened to them, nothing happened, but I want a change to come. I want their minds to be expanded. I want their minds, their hearts, you know, um, the hardness, the coldness in their heart, and where they meant evil for me. Lord, I want you to show them that you are in control, not for my good, but for your glory, not for my good, because your will is going to be done either way. So I ask God when I pray a prayer over conviction over someone, but I have to have a clear heart. I have to have a clean heart and a clear mind, because I don't want to petition God with the wrong attitude. I don't want to petition God with a nasty heart and a attitude or a mind that I just want God to go in there, just wipe them all, like kill them all, like in the when God was telling, wipe them all out. Everybody, don't leave nobody. Don't leave nobody. Don't leave no chickens. Don't leave no cows. Don't leave no horses. Don't leave nothing. I want everything, and everybody utterly destroyed. And we were talking about that in Sunday school one morning, and I just said, I think that's kind of harsh. And Pastor was saying, yeah, in your finite, you in your mind you would think that, but however, as we're going along in the lesson, he was saying, if anything or any person, even the children, I said the children too, and yeah, and he was saying, if the children had been spared when they grew up, they could have taken revenge, and all sorts of things could have. have happened. Then, and when you learn things, when you're studying the word, when you're going to Bible study, when you're going to Sunday school, you learn all these things instead of sitting up there in church when the pastor is preaching, and you don't know what he's preaching about, but you just say amen, amen. That's why the word tell us to study thyself, study to show thyself approved. And then when your prayers are not, when you're not having effective prayers and your prayers are not being answered, you have to check yourself as well, because there's a dead cat on the line somewhere. You cannot have wavering faith. You cannot pray to God and doubt God going to do what you're asking for at the same time. And you can't pray with the wrong motives. You got to have a clear conscience, a clear heart. Your motivations you have to be motivated not by wanting to destroy someone or to hurt someone. You have to be motivated about knowing that, Lord, whatever your will is for this person, I'm going to accept whatever your will is going to be. Because at the end of the day, you got the first, the last, and the all. You got the first, the last, and everything. So it's going to be the way that you're going to have it be anyway. And then when there's conflict in relationships, and that's out of James 4:1, being resentful or argumentative with others will affect communication with the Father. You're going backwards and forward with somebody, backwards and forward. That's why I choose to let people, because I believe what my great grandmother said: there's enough room in the world for everybody to have their own way. You could be however you want to be. That has no bearing on me whatsoever. So I'm learning how not to be in conflict with people. I'm learning how to be as peaceful as I possibly can. What does it gain me to argue with somebody on YouTube? It does me absolutely nothing. I have high blood pressure. I do. I have an issue with high blood pressure, you know. So what I look like arguing with somebody who I will never see, somebody I don't know nothing about them, just know them from being on YouTube, you know. So what I look like sitting here talking through my phone and arguing with somebody, typing something nasty or saying something nasty and rude or something like that to somebody. What good is that? When you have conflict in a relationship, and I don't have I have relationships with some people where we talk on the phone daily, sometimes 2, 3 times a day. I have a relationship with them, and they know where I stand. I know where they stand. So there's no conflict in our relationship. But the people who call me names, call me old this, and talked about my drug habit, and I talked about my drug habit. So there's nothing that nobody can say about that can make me feel any kind of way, because you better be careful about what you say about me, because the way my God is, what you say to me can bounce back off on you. So that's the way I look at things. I try to be as at peace with things and people as much as I possibly can, because I am good at walking away from someone. And I have been read, people have been in a conversation, can I talk to you? Sure. And then when I don't like, when they're talking to me, and I learn how to just stand there and be quiet and let them get what they need to get off their chest. Let them get that out, because they've been holding it for a long time. And I'll stand there and I'll listen. And after I stand there and listen, then I smile. And I say, are you okay now? Did you say what everything that you needed to say? Yeah, I said everything I need to say. Then I said, okay, I'm gonna walk off. Okay, I'm not. I'm gonna let you have that, and I'm gonna walk away. Now, if you walk behind me, all bets are off. All bets are off. Cause one thing I'm not gonna do, I'm not gonna tongue wrestle with nobody. That mean I ain't going. I'm not. I'm going not gonna be exchanging words with you. I let you have the last word. I walked off. I let you know I'm gonna walk off now. I'm gonna walk off. Now, if you walk behind me and I turn back around, and I'm going to say it again, I'm walking away, please let it be. Let it be what you want it to be. Now, because if you want it to be anything else, I'm open. I'm open. I'm real open. And I'm at an age now, I can't do all that now. I can't do all that tongue wrestling. And I will pop you real quick. But I know I'm not as quick and swift as I used to be. So I know I try to avoid things at all time. I try not to be at conflict with anybody. I try to be at peace with everybody. So and then in Proverbs 21 and verses 13, it says, like of generosity. God is displeased when we ignore people's need or giving begrudgingly. Like in church, we can give through there's two ways we give. We give, just give while we at church, or we give through this app called Giblify. And then we used to always say, it tells us in the Bible, if you gotta give grudgingly, don't give it, because it didn't come from your heart. And if you got to give and talk about what you're doing for someone, don't do it. Don't do it, because you didn't do it for that person. You did that for yourself. You did that so you could go out and say, oh, I did this. Oh, I had to help her pay her light bill. Oh, girl, she came to me and asked me for $20 to get gas. Oh, girl, nah. See, I would rather do without, because if I ever ask a person for anything, it means that I need that. And I'm the type of person, it's not that I don't, if I need something, I don't ask anybody for it, because I want nobody in my business. If I go to a person and I know the person, I know the people that I can go to and say, "Girl, look, I'm a little short right now and I need this." No questions asked. Well, you want Cash App or you want Zelle, because I don't keep no money on me. So you can either Zelle it to me or you can Cash App it to me, like that. And I know the people that I can go to and I can ask for help, because they know they can come to me and ask me as well. And when I do something, I do it from my heart. There's a lot of times I've done things for people and absolutely nobody knows about it. And then that person, I have been in situations where people have, said things negatively about me, and a person will be saying, no, that's the way you see her, but the way I see her is so totally different, because she's not like that with me. And when I'm away with a person, I'm away with that person because of something that person have done, or something that person has said. I just don't. No, I don't even have. I don't think I have attitudes, but I will treat you a certain way. I would treat you with respect. It's just like I heard Samuel L. Jackson say, "I ain't mad with you. We cool, but we not friends. The way I used to treat you, that you won't get that anymore. It's not there. But I do what I can for you. I'm gonna do what I can for anybody. For the person who disliked me the most, I still do something for you, because that is what that is what is required of me, from God, to be at peace and to love. I'm learning. I ain't gonna say it that I love everybody. I ain't gonna say that lie, because I will be telling a lie. But I'm learning how to separate love and like, because the command was to love. The last commandment that was given was to love. It wasn't to like. Liking is not a prerequisite to love. And that's what I always thought. I got to like a person first before I love them. And no, that is not what God requires of me. That is not what Jesus said. Jesus said, love your neighbors. Love your neighbors. Love, love, love. Love will cover a multitude of sin. You can love a person and not like their ways. And we have to distinguish. Words matter. The meaning of words matter. So I had to learn how to distinguish that. Like, I got to like you first before I love you. Now that's not what God says, and that's not what God requires. And in Proverbs 28 and 9, indifference, it talk about indifference. You have to have apathy to the scriptures is another stumbling block. God has given us the Bible so that we might know him and serve him wholeheartedly. If your prayers have not been answered, consider which, if any, of the above issues may need corrections. Then try personalizing the prayers that you read in the Psalms or elsewhere in God's Word. So, wavering faith, wrong motives, conflict in relationships, lack of generosity. Are you a giving person? Or are you one of those person that's just like to take all the time? And sometimes, on YouTube, I see where people just play on people all the freaking time. All the freaking time. You have a lot, and I've seen where there's lack of generosity, not just on, YouTube, but in life in general. I got mine. I had to work for mine. When I see, I don't give to everybody like that, but it's something that moved me in my spirit to give to certain people. And when I have that stirring in my spirit, I have to be obedient to what the spirit is telling me to do. If I was got off the bus one morning, go walk over to McDonald's. That was my thing. Get my scrambled eggs, get me a breakfast platter, but they would just make me the scrambled eggs and two strips of bacon. By me going there every morning, I used to get a little extra and then get me a cup of coffee and then walk over to Publix and get me an apple flitter. So that one morning, it was like really cold one morning, but all I just got was my coffee and some scrambled eggs. So I had the scrambled eggs and I had my coffee. And I'm walking and I'm saying, I'm going to get my apple flitter. I'm going to sit down. I could eat and I could get warm because it was so cold. And standing outside, one of the guys that work in grocery was talking to this guy. I worked out near the beach, so we had all type of people coming in our store and stuff like that. And it was this guy, that lived across the street, and we knew what was going on across the street. So he lived across the street in those homes over there, and he was sitting out there with the guy. And when I was approaching, and I'm looking at this, I don't know why I zoned in on this guy that was just sitting there, and he was eating. He was eating a sausage biscuit. So when I'm watching him as I'm walking towards the store, and the Holy Spirit said, "Give him that coffee." And I had to turn around and look to see who was talking to me, and I said, "Hmm." The Holy Spirit said, "Give him that when you get near him, give him the coffee." And I said, "Man, I ain't gonna have time to go and bite the McDonald's and get me no coffee. I ain't gonna have time to get no apple flitter. I ain't gonna have time to sit down and eat. I ain't gonna have time. If I get this man my coffee, I'm just gonna what I'm gonna do." So when I got close to the man and I spoke, I said, "Good morning." And I said, "Here, you look like you're gonna need this coffee to wash down that sausage biscuit." And so I turned back around. I went to McDonald's to get another cup of coffee. And when I went to get the coffee, the girl said, "You was just in here." I said, "Yeah, I was just in here." I said, I just come to get me another cup of coffee." She said, "Oh, here." And she know how I like it, didn't have to pay for it, and walked out. Just got blessed. And when I turned around from walking to the guy, he said, "Oh, that's so nice of her." And the guy who worked there said, she nice. She's a really nice person. So, I got blessed by not even having to spend money to get another cup of coffee. And all through that day, I got blessed because at Publix, we're not supposed to take tips unless the customer um, kind of force it on you a little bit, unless the customer insists that we, do it. And this man had came in and he wanted 6 subs. And so I just happened to be the person to walk up to him. "Good morning. What can I do for you? What can I get for you this morning?" And he said, "Oh, I want 6 subs." And he wanted 6 different subs made 6 different ways because everybody had them wrote down what they want. So I said, "Sir, do you have any more shopping to do? You have a list?" what you want on these subs or any more shopping to do? He said, as a matter of fact, yes. So I said, give me the list, go do your shopping, and by the time you come back, your subs will be waiting for you. So he went, did his shopping, came back, had all six of his subs, had put mustard, mayo, and ketchup, oil and vinegar, salt and pepper in a little Ziploc bag for him and stuff like that. And he said, "Oh, that is so nice." So the man took out $25 to give me right in front of the manager and the store manager. I said, "Sir, I can't accept that." Oh, he said, "Oh yes, please, please take it." So the store manager said, "Marita, just go ahead on and take it." He insisted. So I said, "Sir, are you insisting that I take this?" He said, I insist." I said, "Okay." And God knows I needed those $25. I needed those $25. So when you do good and you just be good and just be who you are. And because you can't be somebody else, because God did not design you to be anybody but who He designed you to be. You are the original, and you cannot duplicate anybody. You cannot, we can always try to copy someone, but we will never be. God gave us our own distinguished fingerprints. He gave us our own look. There may be somebody out there that looks like you, that acts like you, but they're not you. And I learned how to be satisfied with me the way God designed me. I am uniquely designed, and there is no other like me. So just going through the day, just today, if your prayers are not being answered, check the line and see what the holdup is. See what's blocking you. And remember, whatever you're going through, God got the answer to bring you through. Because remember, in Psalms 121, it says God never sleeps or slumber. So you should never worry about anything because you are protected 24/7. God is always there. All you got to do is reach out and touch. All you got to do is Jesus is on the main line. Tell him what you want. You can call him anytime. The line is never busy. Never busy when you're reaching out to God. And when you reach out to God, when you're talking to God, let your motivations and everything, let it be motivated by need. Let your motivation be um productive and not harmful. And at all times, try to be at peace with people at all times, even when they are not being peaceful. You have a choice to either walk away or stand there and indulge them in that nonsense. And the worst and the best thing that you can do for a person is ignore them, because you don't never know what a person is going through. We never know what a person is going through. That's why I've learned, and I'm learning how to ignore some things, because nobody don't know nothing about me. All you know about me is what I tell you. If you don't, if you ain't never been with me doing something, you still don't know it. You know what I'm telling you. That's the only ammunition that you have, is what I'm telling you. You cannot fire a shot at me with a bullet that I've already given you. I've already told you I smoke crack. I've already told you I shot dope. I've already told you that I robbed, I steal. I've already, I done told people that. So nobody can hold me against what I did in the past. Because the past is just like my arse. It's behind me. I don't walk around looking back at my behind to see if my behind still there, because I know it's there. My past is gonna ever forever be behind me. So I look forward. I look towards the hills from where forth my help comes from. I don't look back. So just for the day, check your line and see what's holding up those prayers. Check yourself, see what's holding up them prayers. And whatever is holding up them prayers, only you can get that correct. Only you can get that correct by seeking out God and God's wisdom. And if you need for God to forgive you, He's a forgiving God. He'll do that as well. Before God forgive us, we got to forgive ourselves, and we got to forgive those people who have trespassed against us as well. It benefits nothing to hold on to grudges. It's not hurting that person. It's just like taking medicine and expecting for someone else to die. So Ain't nobody worth that for me. Ain't nobody worth my peace. And don't, whatever you're going through, don't worry about it. Pray about it. If you're going to worry about it, don't pray. If you're going to pray, don't worry, because you know what, you got a God that is looking over you, and a God that never sleeps, and a God that never ever slumbers. God is with us. God is for us. God has made us some promises. God tell us, let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. Don't trouble your heart. Don't let trouble get all in your heart. Your heartbeat get all off, your blood pressure go all haywire, and then you start looking all you start looking all discomposed. You start looking like how you're feeling. And the people that's against you, God tells us in his word, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use and persecute you. Because at the end of the day, God got the first and the last say so. It's not what man say, it's what God say. And I'm going to go with what God says. And most of the time, some of the time, honesty to another person can be so painful. How painfully honest words can be. And when your words can either make or break a person. So be careful with the verbiage that you use. Be careful with the words that you use. Sprinkle a little salt on them. Give it, be careful with what you say. Be careful with what you do, how you do it, because God is not sleeping. God sees all and he knows all. And sooner than later, all this stuff we see going on, God is going to let it go on as long as he wanted to go on. And when he get tired of it, God has given us time to rectify a lot of stuff. And if we don't even take the time to get it right, and we don't want to get it right, and we want to be pleasing to other people and not pleasing to God, God is going to get tired. God is going to come a day when this is no longer going to be. And I want my hands to be clean. I want my heart to be clean. I don't want no mark or blemish. I don't want to be in that number that's going to get that chastising. I don't want to be a part of it. So I'm going to do my best to be my best at all times. This is all I have today. This is all I have. And I thank you for the ones that's here. I thank you for the ones that's going to watch this later. By God, grace, and mercy. I hope somebody gets something out of this now, and maybe someone could get it something out of it later. And as I said, for the one or two people that come, and the two or three people that watch in the bushes and the rafters, wherever they're watching from, I appreciate you and I thank you. Just hit the like and the like and share button, and eventually, one day, I'm not worried about the numbers. I'm not worried about that. It's going to be what it's going to be, and it's going to be how God would allow it to be. And when God get ready, I'm waiting for that elevation from God and not from man. I have to always remember that. I have to always remember that. I want my elevation to come from God. I want to be exalted by God. And whatever God put in me to say, that's what I'm going to say. Whether I have to say it to myself, I'm in every morning that God allowed me to get up, I'm going to keep getting up, because if one person hear what I have to say and it makes a difference in their life, I've done more than enough. I've been obedient to what God has had. I've been obedient to what God has wanted me to do, and I've said and I've done what God has wanted me to say and what God wanted me to do, because God said, I know the plans that I have for you. And I want to be in the will of God, And whatever plan, whatever blessing God has for me, I'm open to receive it. I walk by faith and not by sight. So, in the meantime, in between time, the day has begun. It is 8:17, and today is July the 23rd, and the time is 8:17. As I said, this is a beautiful day. It is the beginning of a beautiful, beautiful day. And I choose, the choice that I'm making today is to live, laugh, and be overly happy today. And I pray that's my hope for everybody and anybody who watched this. That's my prayer for you today, that your hope is in God, that you be blessed today, that you be a blessing to someone else today. And I hope that you have been encouraged in something that I've said. And I hope that you would encourage someone else. I hope that you would be generous in your giving, not of your money, sometime of your time. That's all somebody needs sometimes is your time and a kind word. So in the meantime, in between time, y'all holler and come and see me tomorrow. I'm outie. Deuces.